Alright guys, first step to installing a BAMufflers 2010 and newer budget system is to spray all the bolts with WD-40. There's 5 bolts altogether, 4 14 millimeters up front, 1 12 millimeter in the back. Next step is to spray all of the hangers with WD-40. Three hangers for the muffler system. If you're going to be drilling a hole in the tailpipe for the Helmholtz resonator, you're also going to want to spray WD-40 on the rear hanger that holds up the tailpipe. Alright guys, next step to removing the stock system. We've now sprayed all of the bolts with WD-40. We've now sprayed all the hangers with WD-40. We're going to use our handy dandy hanger removal tool. And notice how all I've done is pop the hangers loose. I didn't actually remove the hangers because you still want the hangers there to hold up the weight of the system, of the stock system, but you want to be able to make it come off really easily when you take the weight of the system. The next step to removing the stock system is to take off the stock tailpipe and just let it hang there. All right. The next step to removing the stock system, now that we have sprayed all the bolts with WD-40, we sprayed all the hangers with WD-40, and we've popped the hangers loose, the next step is to remove the tailpipe separate the tailpipe from the stock muffler. I'll actually grab the tailpipe right here and twist and pull, and you just pull it back and let it hang. Now you want to be careful of this gasket right here. If you ever intend to reuse the stock system, this gasket is $25 from the dealership. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you barely disturb it and then grab a piece of tape and tape around the gasket to hold it in place so that it doesn't fall off and fall apart. Alright, so the next step to removing the stock system from the truck is to remove the 4 14 millimeter bolt heads from the front of the system. You like that noise? It's beautiful. Alright, we're done with that step. Thanks for watching. Hangers pop loose and the bolts removed. We can now just drop the system, literally drop the system out of the truck. Next step is to actually install the system. I always start with the rear hanger first, so that it can take the weight of the system off of your arms. And then you just swing it up and pop it into the hangers. Next step, install the bolts. This is where a little WD-40 helps with the installation. I was just tap it in place to center the flanges, the new BA muffler flange up against the stock flanges. Just snug down the first flange, center the next flange, and then snug it down. With the first flange just snug down and the second flange squared up, I'm going to go ahead and tighten it down until the little ears just start to bend together here. You'll actually see there's going to be a gap now between these two flanges, just the exact width of that gasket right there. That's because there's actually a groove machined into this flange, and on the factory system there's also a groove machined on that flange, but we don't machine a groove on the BA muffler flange because it's about $20 a flange to machine it, and it's unnecessary. You just tighten down just until you start to see those ears barely bend together, and that's the perfect seal on that gasket. You're actually reusing the stock factory gasket because they're almost infinitely reusable. They don't get damaged when you take it on and off like the rear flange does. Now I'm going to go ahead and snug down on the front flange here and do the final tightening on it. Then I'm going to go ahead and go through and push all of the hanger grommets on all the way to make sure nothing pops loose. And there's our system. I'll go ahead and put the rear flange onto the system. And then I'm going to put the tailpipe on. The tailpipe can tend to be just a little bit tricky. Now that I've pushed it on, kind of forced it on there, everything's going to kind of hold in place as I tighten the bolt. So at first we're just trying to snug it down to hold it in place. Once we start getting a little bit of resistance, I'm going to go ahead and turn the tailpipe to seat that rear gasket. And then you tighten the clamp just a little bit more. Turn the tailpipe. You always want to end up at the spot where you want the tailpipe, just in case the next time you tighten down on the clamp, it won't turn anymore. Just like that. Now that the tailpipe is level and it's seated in the gasket, we're going to go ahead and just wrench down on this sucker. This is intended by Toyota to only be used one time, but it's almost infinitely reusable. You just have to tighten down on it pretty good. And that there is a completed installation of a BAMufflers 2010 Plus aluminized budget system. Stay tuned for the installation of the Helmholtz resonator, which is going to go right there. Alright guys, the final step to installing your 2010 and newer aluminized budget system is to install the Helmholtz resonator. You'll notice the Helmholtz resonator has a cap on one end and a saddle on the other end. We're going to put this in the stock tailpipes in this location between the rear end and the spare tire. We're going to run this about parallel with the rear end, and we're going to slightly point it uphill so that it does not fill with water. The best spot for the Helmholtz resonator is as high in the pipe as we can get without being in the bend of the pipe right here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it up in place where we think it should go. We're gonna pop it onto the side of the tailpipe. We design it so that it's a tight fit, so you don't have to use both hands to hold it in the truck. And then we're gonna go ahead and do some adjustments to it. We want it to be as close to the spare tire as possible so that it doesn't get smacked when the rear end comes up in its wheel travel. I'm going to use soapstone to mark on the side of the tailpipe where the Helmholtz resonator goes.
It's called chalk.
You could use a silver Sharpie, or you could even use whiteout if you don't have anything else. And you can see exactly where the hole needs to be cut into the side of the tailpipe now. Normally, when you're doing this in your driveway, you're gonna use a 2-inch hole saw, and you're gonna literally find the center of our mark here, and that's where your pilot hole goes. You're gonna drop the tailpipe back out of the truck, drill your 2-inch hole right in the center, but I'm gonna go ahead and cheat and use a plasma cutter. With the hole being cut, we're going to go ahead and mock up our clamps. At a minimum, we're looking for the nut to pop over this little ridge right here on the clamp. That's how you know you got it tight enough. And then you go just a little tighter than that. I'll show you what I mean once we get to that point. And you want to pretty much center the center of the U-bolt here, or the center of the clamp here, to the center of the Helmholtz resonator saddle. And that's going to provide the most clamping force possible towards the Helmholtz, or towards the tailpipe. And notice we didn't use any sealant. You can see that one just popped over, so we just needed for this one to pop over. Notice we didn't use any sealant. I used to use sealant when I first made this design, and then one day we were out of sealant, so we temporarily put one together without sealant. You can see how it popped over too. So now it's just a matter of tightening it down for it to clamp. So if you tighten it enough, it will not leak even without sealant, because both materials are so thin. And these clamps are actually a 3/8 inch diameter U-bolt, which is the same diameter U-bolt used on a 65 Mustang to hold the leaf spring to the rear end. So it's a very hardy clamp. You can actually crush the pipe with this clamp. It's strong enough. So we're gonna not really crush it, but we're gonna push it together so tight that there's no way there can be a leak. And that's a completed 2010 budget system, aluminized, including the Helmholtz resonator installed. Thanks for watching. All right, y'all ready? Y'all ready for this?
Oh, yep. Keith is so special, he has to take water breaks. That's going in there.
All right, I get asked all the time, how easy is a BAMufflers bolt-on budget system to install? So I'm gonna show you. See? I can't see a thing. Hold on, I don't know where the damn handles are. Hand me the, I need the, that one, yeah. All right, this is a 12 mil. All right, there's the 12 mil right there. It's hard to breathe in this thing. I'm very dedicated. Anybody got the 14 mil? Who's got the 14 mil? Come on, somebody have me the 14 mil. Come on. Dude, I can't breathe. I don't know if this is a good idea. Who tightened that? You're gonna have to edit some, I guess. Dude, I can't breathe in here. Can somebody hand me the system, please? Ooh, this is hard to breathe. Where's the other bolt? Somebody took it out. Is my socket at least on the... Come on.
Where is the other bolt?
I don't know. I hope somebody doesn't have it and hide it.
Is that it? No, that's the... Ooh.
Anybody find it?
Oh. Yeah, fell in the thing.
It's the box.
Grab it.
That's messed up, dude. I have a disability. I can't see. Come on, where's the 12 mil? Oh, there it is. Wait, is that 12 mil? Is it level? Here, somebody hold this, will you? I need some help here. And that right there is how you install a budget system blindfolded.